Hi, Dave here, and today we're going to check out the work of Mike Azevedo. He's a concept artist based in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He does have a very varied portfolio, and he does fantasy, sci-fi, dinosaurs, right? Although I feel like he's more of a character slash creature designer, right? I mean, sometimes he'll do, or he will add some environment stuff in the background, but I think the main thing that's common all throughout his work is his focus on, creatures and people, characters, essentially, right? And he kind of feels like Ahmed Alduri in a way, right? And Mike has different ways or different levels of like sketching or painting. He can be quite impressionistic, kind of like Ahmed, but he can go like hardcore, where his paintings are just so tight, right? And like they could be used for some kind of marketing presentation. Anyway, he also has a YouTube channel, which I do recommend you watch or subscribe there. Yeah. Just because he does have enough videos there that can kind of give you a sense of his painting approach, right? Sadly, he's not very consistent in it. He's more, I guess he's just busy, but he does have enough videos for you to, at least kind of study, right? I do recommend you check out his Tumblr. I will link all of his links in the description below, but I do recommend, of all his links, the Tumblr account, just because the setting of the website is just perfect for viewing, and it really shows you his dedication, I guess. Like, he paints a lot, and if there's one thing that's cool about him is that he has a great volume of work. Like you can see his sketches, his paintings in all different styles and levels, right? And it shows you that he is an artist. He does what he is, right? And you can tell by this piece. I did take most of these images from the Tumblr account, just because it's more varied, more widespread. The ArtStation portfolio is a bit more catered, but anyway. And you can tell by the proportions, very, very exaggerated, very exaggerated, excuse me. And I've noticed that a lot of his proportions are kind of chunky, right? If you go back to this rhino, right? Very, very chunky. That's the word that comes to mind when seeing his work, right? Very blobby as well, chunky, right? They're not very long, or shit, right? Like he kind of sticks to the same kinds of gestures, right? Now this one does remind me a bit of Ki Yang, just a bit. Although the style is very sketchy or impressionistic, right? But yeah, I like he does have a lot of brush variety, which I do like, right? And it kind of fills you up in a good way, right? And it just, there's more to look at when you have variety in your work, right? I mean, even the background here, the sky, there's a bit of oranges, some blues, right? Some yellows, some greens. Although this whole piece is on the warmer side, there's enough variety to make it kind of interesting. Even this color palette kind of reminds me of Li Xingyan, or Lixin Yan, Li Xingyan, fuck. Right? The browns, very, very prominent in his work. Here we have another kind of playful painting. It's kind of like the rhinoceros one, where the proportions are kind of exaggerated, right? And I do like the way he shades, right? Like the fact that you can see his strokes, it's Lion Decker-ish, right? I think that's the guy's name. He's kind of a classic painter. Well, not a classic painter, but like he's a well-known painter, right? And he kind of likes to show off the brush strokes, the individual kind of brush strokes, and they do have some bit of spacing or some minimal spacing in between them, right? And yeah, again, exaggerated forms, very, very chunky, right? Here we have a sketch speed painting, perhaps. And again, look at the way he paints. Very, very impressionistic, right? And a lot of his paintings are in this kind of level where it's just raw and just straight to the point, right? And again, I like seeing the chaos, right? Most of his work is pretty energetic, right? Nice character here, right? The lighting is well done, very, very heavy on the shapes, right? Here we have, I guess he likes to use some kind of flat brush as part of his main kind of tool set, right? And his work does, it's kind of a mix between opaque and opacity types of paintings where you do see this overlapping stroke by stroke kind of approach, but at the same time there are parts where it's a bit opaque and very, very kind of gouache or oily or oil painterly, right? Yeah, and again, even in this babe, she's kind of chunky as well, kind of like thick, right? She's kind of thick. A lot of his work is very, again, chunky. Now this one's more kind of graphical in a way, or sharp, right? But again, chunky. And his work has like a lot of like you can feel the forms of it, right? Like there's like it feels like it's a 3D kind of model just because there's so many what's the word? Like the value range is pretty intense in not just like one part but in each kind of chunk, right? Like even the horns, so this kind of accessory here, like everything is kind of chunked into its own thing, and that specific thing is kind of lit in a way where you have a dark, very, very almost black kind of value, and then you have like a really kind of light value. And the point is, there's this wide range, right, all throughout the whole piece, right? And in each chunk, fuck. Gosh, it's so hot here. Oh god, sorry. Anyway, and thankfully in his Tumblr, he does post most of his like sketchbook pages, right? And again, it shows you that he is an artist. You know, he does what he is, right? And even at this range, look at the values, right? It's very contrasted, I guess. Is that the word? I think so. The forms are pretty noticeable even at this stage, right? Some more sketchbook pages with the micron pen. More sketchbook pages, right? I'm guessing he's using pen and a basic marker, like maybe a Copic or something, or a touch marker, right? And it's pretty creative, right? And again, look at the forms. It's kind of roundish, chunky, not very slender, kind of thick. A lot of his characters and creatures are kind of thick, right? Now he does have a video of this specific painting in his YouTube channel. I do recommend you watch it. But again, look at the power. It's pretty impressionistic, right? And he's very painterly in that way, right? He's not very clean. He can be if he wants to, but a lot of his paintings are in this level, and that's kind of enough, you know. Even at this stage, it has that energy to it, right? But there's something in my throat. Ah, God, excusez-moi. Again, look at the chunks everywhere, right? Even the hair is kind of chunked into like, yeah. Now this is fuck. Apologies, folks. Anyway, now this one does remind me a bit of a Kian, right? The character design and even the way it's kind of rendered is it's not that clean, but it's kind of smooth. And Yankee tends to paint this way, at least for a specific project. Like he has a bunch of creature character mech designs where they're kind of rendered in this very smooth way. And I think he limits himself to just the round brush, kind of like Mike is doing in this painting, I think. And maybe like a blocky square brush for variety. But it's not even that variety in terms of texture, right? Or brushwork. It's pretty clean in a way. Just not finished totally, right? But it's enough, I think. Same thing here, right? I think he's using a square brush in the directional mode and a round brush at the same time. Again, not a lot of texture for this piece. Very, very chunky. Nice contrast. Lots of blacks, I think. Nice highlights. Ooh, an ogre. Or orc. I think. Nice muscles here. Damn. And again, even the face is chunky. The muscles are chunky. He's using more rough looking brushes. Very, very gritty types of brushwork being used. But again, the style is still kind of the same, right? I think he does like to use black in his work, right? High contrast. And he's kind of like John Wall and Liberto also, right? In a way. Just because of the brushwork, like he likes to build up the paint. So I think that's what reminds me of Mr. Liberto, right? Nice monster eagle thingy. And again, it's not even that finished, but it's enough, right? It's a solid, even this branch or this trunk right here. Look at the variety in brushwork and in value or in hues, right? The greens, the reds, the blues. Wow. And look at how impressionistic the background is. It's pretty rough, but you know, it kind of it makes up in the, or he makes the detail make up for the like the intensity of detail, the intensity in detail in this specific eagle monster thing is enough to kind of hook you in, you know, because that's the main focus anyway, right? My god. Here you can see him use very, very simple brushes. I think just the round brush for the most part, right? Even in this kind of weapon system, right? It gets sketchier as you go, or as he goes above or up, right? Again, very, very chunky forms, right? Now this one is pretty clean. Reminds me of Hugo Richard, I think his name is. Like his line work with the flat color painting underneath. And I think there's a guy named Logan Creshaw something. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. He has the same kind of anatomy for his creatures, right? Now usually I don't see Mike showing his line work when he does his paintings. Maybe for his sketchbook pages, but yeah. I think he usually paints over his initial line sketch, but again, intense, right? Amazing. Ooh. Here we have some kind of dinosaur. It feels like it was done with chalk, right? Like it has a bit of roughness, like pencil chalk, right? I guess he likes to play around with a lot of brushes, but his approach is still rather similar, like straight to the point. It's not that rendered. A lot of his work is not rendered, right? It's a bit painterly, right? But different, in fact. So we have more dinosaurs here. He does leave the line sketch a bit underneath. And again, even the dinosaurs are kind of stylized. You can tell by the anatomy, right? Very, very chunky. And they're usually short looking. You know, they're not that tall. Again, not tall, not slender. Usually very thick, bulky, right? I think he spent most of his painting time in the upper back and in the face. Obviously, you can see a bit of shading here from the pencil sketch in the beginning, right? The groundwork is just for it's more accessory than necessary, right? Very, very smooth looking. Not a lot of brush variety. I guess he's just doing some kind of study for this one. More dinosaur studies here. Some skeletal anatomy, right? Here we have a Spinosaur, right? Basic brushes. I think maybe he does use the mixer brush, it's hard to say. Although I do see a lot of blurry effects here. I'm not sure what or how he did this. Maybe, I'm guessing mixer brush or a soft brush, hard to say, right? Anyway, moving on. Some more studies here. And again, the forms are kind of chunky, right? That's just his style. He's not very realistic in any way, you know? Even in this Spinosaurus thingy, a very, very chunky looking dinosaur. Even the trees are kind of chunky, right? But look at the amount of variety in hues here. Wow, right? The greens, the reds, it's so colorful. And I think he does play a lot with the blending modes, the layer blending modes, to achieve this kind of overlaying effect. Like this dinosaur here has the entire color wheel in it, right? And the neck and the face, wow. Wow, right? Pretty cool. And even the way it's rendered, the lighting, it's kind of realistic, right? It's just it's realistic or rendered realistically, but it's a bit saturated or way saturated than it ought to be, right? He kind of exaggerates the saturation and I guess the anatomy. With this is one of my favorite pieces of his. Now I know this is more of a speed painting sketch. Now thankfully this guy has a video of this specific painting in his YouTube channel, so I do recommend you watch it. And this is one of the pieces that actually got me hooked into being kind of impressionistic, right? Along with Ahmed Al-Duri and a few others. And what's her name? The Spanish chick. Marta Nael. Like these were and of course, you know, Feng Zhu. These were the artists that really kind of penetrated my soul. And I mean, look at this piece, right? Gamenasai, bitch. Ara. Like, it's so well done, even if it's like a speed painting sketch. I mean, come on, bro, right? I mean, what more can I say about this piece? Like, even the way he did this kind of white highlight thing for the spear, it's so bold and magnifique, yeah. Anyway, and again, I think he really likes to use blacks. High contrast work. Reminds me of the character in Thor, like the Guardian thingy, played by Idris Elba, right? The horns and shit. Anyway, wow, one of my favorite pieces. Anyway, here we have another babe, with a flashing sword, right? It's unfinished, but look at the way the armor was done here. This part right here reminds me of the brushwork of Feng Zhu, just a bit, right? Just a bit. It has the same essence, but again, very, very impressionistic. Whoa! And he also likes painting dragons a lot, right? And I guess that's why I'm kind of reminded of John Wallen Liberto, because John also does like kaiju stuff. And he also did this one dinosaur, I think he did one dinosaur painting as well, like a head. Hopefully I'm recalling the right artist. But anyway, again, impressionistic. It gets very rough as you go further away from the head, but wow. Even the dragon anatomy is kind of chunky, right? Now this one is kind of not as chunky. The horse is kind of chunky, but this dragon right here is the trees are chunky, but even the tail of this dragon is chunky, but the head, the neck is a bit kind of on the realistic side. I mean, look at the head, right? The reflected lighting. Wow. Again, it's almost like it's realistically painted, right? Like the values, the lighting is well done. But you can tell he did saturate this bottom part way more than necessary, right? Amazing. It gets very impressionistic as you go further away, but look at the amount of detail, right? You can't really zoom in. Like, this is the biggest. I mean, you could like do this, but yeah. I guess this is a piece that's kind of I mean, this is still my favorite, right? Just because of the energy involved. But this is pretty hot as well, right? Oh, this one does remind me of John Juan and Liberto, right? Because I think John did like a couple of covers for like he did like a Jaeger fighting a kaiju, and he had like 3 different like compositions, and it was kind of in this level of detail, right? And this shows you the level Mike can go in his painting, right? It's pretty high quality, detailed, right? I mean, you can see he does become him as you go further away, but obviously, you know, it's more of a marketing piece. Oh shit. It's obviously more of a marketing piece, right? So there's going to be more detail in the face and shit, right? It's going to look way more rendered. But if you zoom in, damn, it does get rougher in some parts, obviously, but the highest detail is in this area right here, right? Amazing. Excuse me, let me just have a sip of excuse me. Another piece for the same project, I believe. This one's more sketchy, speed painting, right? Again, saturation, high saturation. Again, more ink sketches from his sketchbook. Shows you his dedication to the craft, right? Damn. He doesn't have a lot of environment sketches or paintings in his work, but if he did focus on environments, it would still probably have the same chunkiness to it, kind of like this one, right? Another magical orc, right? Here we have a babe chick killing some kind of dragon. Reminds me of the shit, what's her name? She killed the Witch King in the Lord of the Rings. Fuck. The blonde chick. Or Aragorn's side chick, I think. Ooh. I love the pencil-like strokes here. Very, very rough looking. Very, very impressionistic, right? It's not even that finished. It's more of a sketch speed painting, but it's amazing, right? And a lot of his paintings are constrained within a very square-ish kind of frame or aspect ratio, right? Ooh. Nice brush variety here. Very, very impressionistic, right? We have a Dark Knight here. Very, very bold. Again, kind of like Ahmed Alduri. Yeah. Dragon again. I think he does have a video of this in his channel. The same thing for this piece right here of this fairy thingy, right? Again, very, very rough. Straight to the point. Opaque-ish. Some overlaying strokes, but it does have that kind of rough look, or gritty. Greta Thunberg, that gritty look to it, right? And again, the pencil-like strokes, very, very amazing, right? Oh, he also does have a video of this as well. Sketchy, but Nice. Ooh, pretty detailed, right? In the arms, damn, look at those delts, bro. It even has this nice scar, damn. Nice forearms, right? Nice biceps, wow. This guy is jacked as fuck, right? Look at how it kind of disappears a bit and then it gets like detailed because obviously it's going to be in light, right? Let's zoom in, wow. So I do recommend you just zoom in on his work and you can see the amount of oh well, it does get a bit more impressionistic obviously because you're zooming in, but if you zoom out, like if you just paint with the right brush size, it can help with the detailing phase, right? Even the horns are well done, wow. Again, very, very realistic-ish painting or value painting, right? But the anatomy, the forms are kind of chunky, right? Yeah, pretty cool. Damn. It gets rougher as you go further away, right? Damn, right? So here we have a breakdown of this specific painting. Oh, kind of cute. So let's explore the breakdown. Line sketch, flat colors, basic flat colors, underneath, some shadows, right? And a bit of lighting. I guess some kind of a cleanup, right? Defining the opening in the mouth. Over here, some shadows in the floor, right? More shadows, right? And then some more lighting and defining the eyes, the teeth, the mouth, and this brush thingy, right? And then, you know, some extra rendering stuff. Look at this jump from here to here. There's much more variety, subtle variety in this kind of light chunk here, right? In terms of values, not necessarily hues, right? So I think having a nice dispersion of values adds to that kind of realism, I think, right? Because if you just leave it at this, it's kind of cartoony. But in this case, or in these two, the proportions do make it cartoony, but because of the rendering, it's kind of realistic at the same time, right? Gomen nasai, arara. Ooh. So I'm guessing this is some kind of alpha male. He's wearing the head of a wolf, so that's kind of aggressive. PETA, yeah, very, very impressionistic. Lots of textures in the wolf and even in this guy, right? And again, chunky. I can see some blacks being used. High contrast again. Impressionistic. Some more land sketches here of a goat and some turtles, some lizards. So this kind of shows you the importance of painting from solid references, right? Because it can inform the way you design. I mean, if you look at this guy's volume of work, you can see this variation of forms. I mean, he does sting to the chunkiness, right? But the designs are so varied and so wide, and it shows you that what you kind of sketch or paint on the side, right, or study does influence your designs, right? So it's good to like have a habit of sketching, studying, right? This is the way. So we have more feet stuff here. It's a bit rough and a bit rogue, but it shows you again I mean, look at the number of these feet. There's so many, right? I mean, he doesn't usually do feet in his work, but you know, I was kind of impressed. Like, this is too many for me. Maybe one sheet is kind of good enough for me, but again, dedication. Anyway. Ooh, so mean. Amazing dragon here again. The lighting is kind of realistic. The saturation is pretty much up or higher than normal. He does like to use black, high contrast again. The proportions are kind of chunky, you can tell. But look at that lighting. Wow. Very, very realistic way of painting, right? Or rendering rather. You can't really zoom in, but if you did, you would still be able to see his impressionism, right? He just spent more time, obviously, with this painting. Damn, one of my favorite pieces, I guess. Oh, I think this one's a repeat as well. So I guess that's it for this art review of Mike Azevedo. I recommend you check out his YouTube channel, subscribe there, follow him on ArtStation, and do check out his Tumblr because he has way more stuff there, I think. Anyway, that's it for this, again, review of Mike Azevedo. Keep training, keep painting, keep learning, and stay free.